Radiant team pick.
Alright, welcome back everyone. Once again, I'm Niz, you're watching NizCast, and this is the Dota 2 Canada Cup. We're still in Group B, our second game of the night. We still have one more to go after this. But we have the makings of a very, very tight group for Group B. As, well, we've got this game and that other game following this to round out the group. But we have Boreal, which took our first game of the night against Root Gaming, and that propelled them to a 2-1 record in the group, which put them above the likes of Wheel and then, of course, Black Sheep, which we'll see in our second game, which are both at 1-1 right now. Root Gaming, of course, losing that first game. They're at 0-1. So they'll look to hopefully win both of their games left tonight, but Wheel will look to at least win this to put themselves in a potential spot to move into the next round, or at least put themselves in a spot to be involved in a tiebreaker for that
Dire team pick.
Well, for that spot to advance. But yeah, so we've got our top two that advance out of the four, and the bottom two, well, they're gone. In the event of a tiebreaker, we are going to have them play each other, and I'll get to that if that becomes the case after the third game. But yeah, this is the Dota 2 Canada Cup. Just a reminder to everyone, I'm not the official stream. There is an official stream at twitch.tv/Dota2 Canada Cup. So go there and support them, but also stick here and support me too. That's good. I appreciate that. But you can also support the tournament by buying the in-game ticket for $8.99. You get a Sven set, and 12.5% of that goes directly back into the prize pool. So you're also supporting the players as well. I'm going to be casting pretty much every single Dota 2 Canada Cup game from here on out. So all the group stage, which we're going to have every single night until the groups are done. We're going to be halfway done after tonight. And then we move on to the playoffs. I'm going to be casting all that stuff too. So if you want to see all that, definitely hit the follow button on this channel. And if you missed some of it, well, it'll be up on YouTube as well. But let's talk about this draft, as we have Troll Warlord and Sniper getting banned out by Wheel. Jug and Zeus were the bans for Root Gaming. Venge, Batrider opening for Wheel. Pretty standard. But now Axe and Night Stalker. What? A Night Stalker will get picked up by Root Gaming. Fluff. Picking some weird stuff already. Will that be a Midnight Stalker? Will that be like safe lane farming? I don't know. I actually don't know. Medusa will also get banned out.
5 seconds remaining.
Huh. Weird. Well, we saw Wheel actually picking the weird stuff yesterday, as they, in their game against Black Sheep, they picked a Coddle to kind of counter a Troll Warlord. That was the same game where IX Mike was playing Tidehunter in the offlane. Didn't get a blink, didn't get a mech, or at least didn't as his first item. He got a blink very late into the game. He actually elected to go after a Bloodstone as his first item. Or Sackstone? I always get confused which one it is in Han and which one it is in Dota 2. And that's really embarrassing. But he got that item, whatever it is, the one that gains charges. And heals your allies on death. But yeah, IX Mike, he picked some weird stuff. Wheel, of course, picked some weird stuff in the draft. But it looks like Root Gaming is going to be the one changing it up. I guess Night Stalker's not that far out there. But in your first two picks, it kind of is. So Root, I mean, they lost their first game. Are they desperate now? Is that what this is? Or is this a kind of pocket strat that they've been hiding away, waiting for a time where they needed to use it? Either way, we're going to see it this game. As, well, DotA, PL, and now Dro Ranger are going to get banned out as we await the final ban from Wheel.
10 seconds remaining.
And what do you ban going up against Root Gaming's lineup right now? You see the Night Stalkers. Okay. We know they're going to be strong in the mid game. They're going to look to get the Axe going, similar to how we saw it going last game against them. And that's going to be paired up with the Night Stalker, so there's going to be a lot of ganking going on in the mid game. What do we remove? Well, Wheel chooses to remove TA. So they thought, well, maybe that Night Stalker is going to be safe lane, and they're going to put the TA in the mid lane. And then that'll put us in a little bit of a tough spot, which is actually interesting because Wheel has a natural TA counter for the mid lane in the Batrider. Batrider used to be picked quite often to go against the TA. Of course, Batrider also got his right-click damage nerfed quite a bit. And, well, I don't think most teams would be fine with running Batrider in the mid lane anyways anymore, as that's pretty much just run in the off lane now. But they will add a Lina to their roster. And Lina's an interesting pick if they want to put in the mid lane. Because going in the mid lane, it should be able to dominate the Night Stalker pretty hard. I mean, you're going to have the huge range. You're going to have the advantage because you're range versus melee. So you're going to be able to right-click him and push him back. But you're also going to be able to clear that wave and push it onto him so he's stuck under tower and he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. But Root will pick up Shadow Fiend, so most likely that's going to be in the mid lane. However, they could put that safe lane and leave the Night Stalker mid, but I think the Shadow Fiend's going to do better overall against the potential of Lina being mid. So I think, right now as it stands, Axe will be off lane, Shadow Fiend will be mid, Night Stalker will be safe lane.
10 seconds remaining.
There's other variations of that, but we're not going to get into that because those are a little bit out there. But that's most likely what it's looking like. For Wheel, we know Batrider's most likely going to be in the off lane. Vengeful Spirit's going to be supporting in the safe lane. We don't know about the Lina. It could be support or it could be in the mid lane. Most likely right now it's looking like it's a mid lane Lina. As we get our next pick from Wheel, it should maybe open things up a little bit for us. Or I guess tighten things down more so than open it up. We'll have a better idea of what they're going to be doing with their lanes. Unless they actually pick up their carry here, which is a very real possibility as well. We got a Mr. Sizzo prediction of the Storm Spirit and Silencer getting picked up. I have to say I don't see either of those coming out. Storm is a potential for Wheel. They could pick up a Storm Spirit to kind of jump on the Shadow Fiend. I'm not sure if I like picking up the Storm against a Night Stalker though. You're pretty much going to have to get a BKB fairly early on. And if you don't have the greatest early game, you could find yourself in a real bad spot on the Storm Spirit this game. But Wheel definitely taking their time with this decision, and it is a big one. As they're going to go with the Razor. Whoa. Haven't seen much Razor recently. Razor does do quite well against the Night Stalker. It's an interesting pickup by them. It's a hero that's not super squishy, not super vulnerable to them trying to put aggression on in the mid game. And if they do try to really force that aggression and they go on someone other than Razor, Razor will be able to sap a bunch of that damage from either Night Stalker or even an Axe maybe. And then he'll be able to return a lot of that damage. So really interesting pickup from Wheel, but looking like it's going to be an effective one. Razor, of course, can sap the or steal the damage from the person who's also lassoed. I'm not really sure what they're going to pick to finish out that roster, though. If the Lina is a mid Lina, they could be a little lacking on damage. Viper will be the pick for Root, so essentially we have 4 cores. So, there's Axe, the potential of Axe being position 4, which would create Viper mid, Shadow Fiend safe lane, Night Stalker off lane, or Axe off lane, Shadow Fiend. It could be Viper mid, Shadow Fiend safe lane, and then Night Stalker support. I don't know. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of different configurations here. And I said earlier, there's, you know, it looks like it was going to be Axe off lane, Shadow Fiend mid, Night Stalker safe lane. But I said there were other options, and this is where it gets really confusing.
Reserve time.
As they've picked up a Viper, and there's... I'm not even going to get into it. There's just too many. It's too crazy. It's too difficult to kind of figure it all out in the limited time we've got in the draft here. But Dazzle will be the last ban for Wheel. Root dipping into the reserve time, deciding what they need to ban here. And I don't know. I don't know how Wheel closes out their roster. Like I said, if the Lina is in the mid lane, their damage could be lacking. Slark will be the ban. So they also think that the Lina is support with the Razor in the mid lane. So they also feel the same thing about if that Lina's mid, their damage is going to be very, very lacking. So most likely it will be a support Lina. And we'll have to see if Wheel feels the same way with their pick here.
10 seconds
This
remaining.
is looking like a really greedy strat from Root Gaming right now.
5 seconds remaining.
Which is weird to think of a strategy with a Night Stalker and a Viper being greedy. But the way that they're going to have to lane this is going to be quite greedy. There is the chance that they could go like aggressive. Holy crap, that's an option too.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant
yeah, they could go like an aggressive tri-lane. Who do you leave to go up against the Bat? Because I imagine the Viper would have to be in the aggressive tri-lane. Maybe Shadow Fiend against the Bat? Then you're leaving Night Stalker mid against the Razor. You've got to have Viper mid against the Razor. I don't know. Either way, Luna's going to be the pick for Wheel. This is a confusing one of a draft. Root Gaming lineup or finish out their roster with the Disruptor, so we knew that was going to be a support. Interesting. Fluff is going to be on the Night Stalker. It's a support Night Stalker, boys. That's interesting. That is very interesting. TC's going to be on the Shadow Fiend. If we go just by their roles, it should be Shadow Fiend mid, Axe off lane, Viper farming safe. Wow. Support Night Stalker. Here we go. You know, I don't want to say I told you so. I don't want to kind of be the hipster that said I said this before anything else. But I have said in the past that I think Night Stalker does have potential of being a support. And you know what? To see it come out in a game like this where Root's on the ropes is awesome. But that silence in the nighttime is ridiculously long. It's 9 seconds. 9 seconds. It's 8 seconds apparently. Either way, it's long. It feels like an eternity. It feels like you're just silenced for the rest of the game. But let's introduce the teams and the players. We got Root Gaming on the Radiant side. They need to win this game to stay on into the tournament, or at least give themselves a chance going into their next game. Leading them is going to be Fluff on the support Night Stalker. Guanzo is going to be on the Axe. Monkeys Forever is going to be on the Viper. Jason's going to be on the Disruptor, also known as Fun or Spirit. TC is going to be our last player on the Shadow Fiend. Wheel's going to be our Dire side. Derp's going to be the Vengeful Spirit. IX Mike on the Bat Riders. You see a smoke coming out from them. Relic on the Razor. Goody on the Lina. And Sleazel's going to be on the Luna. Thankfully, we only have 2 of the L's. We only got the Lina and the Luna on the same team. We did have earlier in the tournament the Lion as well. That made it a ridiculous time to try to catch this, but we got a wrap around here, and they're going to get the stun off on Monkeys Forever. Looks like this is going to be first blood in favor of Wheel to start this one off. As Relic's going to get it, Monkeys Forever takes the fall. And that's a good way to start off in the mid lane as a Razor. Start off with that little extra bit of gold, a little bit of extra experience. He's already 2/3 of his way to level 2. And that's going to make life a little bit difficult for TC here. But they're going to try to switch it up as Fluff's coming in from behind onto Relic with Goodies there as well to support. Now Fluff needs to make sure that he doesn't get caught out and make life even more difficult for TC. Looks like we're going to have a lot of moving around on the map, but we'll try to let you know what's going on in the lanes here. We've got Axe going up against Luna in the top lane. Looks like Fluff's making his way up there on the Night Stalker as well. Got both supports for Wheel moving around between mid and top. So we've got Lina and Venge, most likely both heading up top to support the Luna. Mid lane, it's going to be Shadow Fiend versus Razor. As we see Relic stealing a bunch of damage, just 21 charges, but still that's a lot of extra damage. Fluff maybe getting caught out here in the top lane. Now, will he get stunned up? He will. Light Strike Array is the first one. Magic Missile comes out and basically overlaps. A little bit of miscommunication there. That actually probably would have net them a kill. As Fluff gets away with 140 HP. Now Goody is going to get forced back by Gonzo using that Battle Hunger and smacking him with the axe a few times. In our bottom lane, it's going to be the Bat Rider going up against the Viper and to some extent the Disruptor, but expect him to be doing a bunch of pulling if he can find this Observer Ward. He's already missed it once with the Sentry. He's going to try to... where's the other Sentry? Who's got the other Sentry? Where's the other Sentry, guys? I'm blind. Help! I don't know where it is. I don't see it on the map. Oh gosh, it's right here. So they They felt pretty confident that they were going to be able to force IX Mike to abandon this lane. We saw him abandon the off lane both games earlier in this group stage. So they're already planning for that and blocking the camp that he's most likely to go to. But IX Mike seems to be perfectly fine down here, as he's been doing okay. He's already level 3, almost level 4. Doesn't really have that much CS, 8 and 3, but I guess that's actually not bad for an offlaner. He's actually tied with his mid Razor, so he's doing quite well actually. Certainly not being forced to abandon. They even have elected to put an observer ward in this lane to spot him out, to make sure that Jason's going to be able to harass him back even better. Guanzo and Fluff, maybe they pushed up too far as Derp and Goody are going to come in from behind. Sleazel with the right click makes them, and the aura makes them hit so damn hard. My goodness, Lunar Blessing. OP. As we see, the second kill go in favor of Wheel. Root. Oh no, they're struggling already to start this one off, as maybe they're going to lose another one in the top lane, as Fluff taking a bunch of damage, going down to 115. Oh, the mana wasn't there for the Lucent Beam. But now Fluff will get forced back to Fountain. This Night Stalker not paying off yet, but it is pretty greedy of a pick, and it's certainly not going to come into its own yet in the game. It's gonna take a little bit, as we probably approach 8 to 10 minutes into the game, maybe even a little bit longer, but somewhere around there. Maybe 8 to 12 is probably a better timing to kind of consider, is when the Light Stalker is going to first start coming online, which is kind of weird because that actually doesn't really line up with the nighttime, but that's around the timing where he's going to start really being the strongest. But definitely once it's nighttime, is going to be even stronger, as Relic taking quite a bit of damage. He got slowed up by Fluff with the Void to start that all off. Oh, that last raise unfortunately didn't land, just didn't have the range. But Relic taking a good amount of damage there. And you know what? I think it's actually okay. If Fluff's moving around like this, even if they're not getting kills, they're constantly putting pressure on people like Relic on the Razor, means he's not going to have the start that you want him to have. Now it's going to create a little bit of space for TC on the Shadow Fiend. It's going to create a little bit of space even for Guanzo in the top lane. Force those supports on the other side to be moving around and try and anticipate your rotations and make them have to go and help their teammates rather than just sitting up here and zoning out Guanzo. But Derp will wrap around. Fortunately, Goody not able to line up the stun there, as the magic missile just wasn't lasting long enough to allow him to get in range and drop the LSA. Spoke about IX Mike abandoning the offlane. He has done that, as now he's finding himself in the jungle, and he's also finding a Mud Golem camp. That's a little frustrating on the Bat Rider. But that sentry has gone away, so he does have access to this other camp. Guanzo trying to get as much as he can in this offlane. He is already level 5, so he's doing alright for himself. And it looks like Wheel's perfectly fine with devoting a lot of their support time towards zoning out Guanzo and making sure that he's not off to a good start. In fact, it looks like they're actually going to get a kill here, as Guanzo maybe overextended a little bit too far.
Both ways.
As he went down, Fluff hunting, trying to find IX Mike, but IX Mike actually heading back to the fountain to get his HP and mana up. He's sitting at 1750 gold, so Fluff's able to catch IX Mike when he's low. That'll really set him back from getting that Blink Dagger. And certainly Wheel's going to look to have that Blink Dagger up early on the Bat Rider, as you always kind of want. But going up against a team like Root, where they're going to be very active in the mid game, you want something like your Bat Rider to be able to contest it. And part of that is the value of the Luna. You know, once you get Eclipse going in that mid game, it's a very strong ability. Think of it almost like an Omni Slash on the Juggernaut. It's actually stronger earlier on than the Omni Slash. Doesn't quite scale as well, but it kind of gives you that real strength in that mid game. But Luna also has the ability to farm and stay in the game and be relevant later on, so it's a good pick for them. Wheel also has Goody on the Lina, so you're going to have burst as well, so punish anyone who maybe overextends in those mid game fights. So they definitely have the lineup to kind of match the pace that Root Gaming is going to look to set. But now Wheel also rotating Derp down here. He hasn't shown himself. He's going to go and hide off to the side, or at least he doesn't know that he's shown himself. The Observer Ward has spotted him out. IX Mike's going to try to go on Monkeys Forever, but it's a counter gank coming out from Root. As it looks like IX Mike's going to go down here. While all this was going on, Relic died in the mid lane. Looks like it was a solo kill by TC. So, Root actually coming out ahead with 2 kills there. Just 1 in the counter gank in the bottom. But TC managing to get a solo kill in the mid lane. I'm guessing Relic just kind of overextended there and then got punished by some raises. Guanzo thinking about diving there. But, not going too crazy there. Derp in the middle of the Radiant jungle getting pinged out. What is he doing? He's going to drop an Observer Ward, spot a little bit of those rotations. Maybe potentially set them up for a kill on Axe, who's probably going to be in there getting a little bit of farm. He is quite a bit away from getting his Blink Dagger, just sitting on 750 gold. Fluff hiding in the trees. Does Sleazel know? He's certainly looking for him. Will he check above? If he does, he's got the Eclipse ready. And it's probably going to be a kill on the Night Stalker, but doesn't check in the above position. That means Fluff's going to be fine. Sneaky Night Stalker, just hiding in those trees. Blink Dagger getting purchased by IX Mike. Probably going to go back to Fountain here, get his HP and mana up, as that's really not enough mana to get a Blink Lasso off. And he's got to wait for his Firefly anyways. But expect him to, as soon as he gets that, TP somewhere and go look for a pickoff. Where will it be though? Probably in the mid lane. Probably going to want to get a kill on TC on the Shadow Fiend. So look for that. Derp's sitting here soaking in the mid lane, so they are going to have another disable there. Goody even making his way to the mid lane. I believe that will be their target. Monkeys Forever buying a Midas. So investing in a little bit more of the late game, but also realizing that there's probably going to be a lot of fighting in the mid game. And he wants to still be able to scale, still be able to get that item progression. So the Midas will allow him to do so. And it's not mid, it's going to be bottom. IX Mike smoked up with Goody as they look to get a kill on the Viper here. Yeah, they're not going into the jungle. It's going to be the Viper is going to be their target. They've got 3 heroes together on Root, but they're all in the mid lane. They're going to be way too far to help out Monkeys Forever here. But he is playing safe down below, but not safe enough. IX Mike will be able to jump on in with the lasso. That will be a kill. So Wheel gets another. 4-2 now for them. Derp getting what he can in this mid lane. A little bit low on HP, below 400 HP. And that means TC would be able to drop him pretty quickly with potentially landing 2 raises, but I don't think Derp's going to get close enough to allow that to happen. Fluff standing in this spot in the trees, actually blocking Guanzo from walking through, but I don't think he was actually trying to get through. He will actually walk up here and put some pressure on Sleazel, and Sleazel's getting forced back. He's actually going to get taunted up. Will Fluff be able to get there in time? No, he was just a little bit too far, but oh my goodness! There's that Eclipse coming out, but also the Laguna coming out from the Lina. Holy moly. He just got dropped. He went from about 3/4 HP to just dead. Wow. What looked like it could have almost been a kill for Root had Fluff been a little bit closer to be able to get there. I don't think he thought the Axe was going to try to go so ham. But just like that, it goes completely the other way. We have reached the 11-minute mark. Let's take a look at our net worth. There's the Shadow Fiend out in front in terms of net worth. That's not something we saw last game, but, well, they still won. Or the team with the Shadow Fiend still won. That was Boreal, not Root. As he's up just under 6,000. There we go. 6,100 net worth for the Shadow Fiend. Luna in second place at 5k.
Is under attack.
Razor, 4,900, and Viper, 4,400. Or other cores that have been farming up. 2 offlaners. Batrider a little bit ahead there. 3,500 versus the 3,300 for the Axe. Fluff sitting here smoked, but it will get popped by Relic, who comes down from the high ground. And it'll get pinged out, and everyone will just kind of back away. TP going to the bottom lane from Relic as IX Mike trying to set something up again. Monkeys Forever was pushed up kind of far as the tier 1 had already gone down, but now he'll actually go back into the jungle. This observer ward for the Dire will spot that rotation. And in fact, this other one will spot the fact that there's at least 3 heroes for the Radiant side hanging out down here. I don't think it's spotted at Guanzo just yet. So we know just the 3 are down there. And it looks like Root will just be farming together in the jungle. We're going to have another hand of Midas getting purchased. This time it's by Relic on the Razor. So both teams kind of investing in those Midases to keep the items flowing as this game goes forward. Derp's got a chainmail, so most likely building towards the medallion for the Vengeful Stare, which we actually haven't seen too much coming out from the Venge. Ooh, IX Mike, does he get to catch Jason here? Indeed he will, but the glimpse just comes off in time. IX Mike, I think he was anticipating the glimpse to come out. And he was kind of hesitant on the lasso. As soon as he missed the opportunity to get it immediately, he was very hesitant on using it. I think he was just trying to bait out the glimpse. But it just didn't come, and then eventually, as he actually grabbed the target with the lasso, the glimpse had just come out, and it ended up being a wasted lasso. But we have a smoke here from Root. The Night Stalker and the Viper will try to run out onto mid lane, onto Relic. But it's just a void, and Razor will stay quite far away. Luna not pushing up too far there either. Had they actually engaged hard on there with Sleazel being so close, they may have just walked into an eclipse and gone down.
Dire's structures
That observer ward that Jason had just placed on the Roche pillar has gotten counter warded. IX Mike's going to get caught out here, so the patience from Monkeys Forever just sitting in these trees with Fluff does pay off for them. They also get the tier 1 on the back of that. Looks like Wheel's not even responding to come back and defend their tier 2, so there's going to be some pot shots taken on the tier 2. I don't think it's actually going to fall. But it very well might if Wheel doesn't respond at all. There is a TP on the Lina. Relic in the middle of the jungle. He has a TP as well. Derp's got a TP in the bottom lane. Sleazel doesn't have a TP, but he's at the Ancient, so he's not that far away. But he's farming up a stack. We may just lose this mid-tier 2 tower. It's going to get pinged out now by Derp.
Dire's structures are fortified.
But it gets counter-pinged by Sleazel, says, hey, I'm farming this Ancient stack. And yeah, the tier 2 will go down in the mid lane.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Interesting. Now, Fluff's going to come in behind Goody. He's going to stun him up. Or void him up, sorry, to keep him slow. Guanzo's going to jump in with the taunt. And he will use, or he was about to use the Decapitate to chop his head off, but he actually dies before he's able to do so. Would have been a little bit of wasted mana there on a target that was pretty much dead to begin with.
Tower is under attack.
More counter warding coming out from Wheel.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We also had a mech getting picked up by the Viper, so Monkeys Forever gonna have the mech available to his team. That's gonna allow them to push a little bit harder. Got another wraparound coming on in the mid lane. It's gonna be set up by the Yule Scepter coming out from TC, and with Fluff being there, Relic just drops very quickly and seemed almost hopeless. Maybe both, as he had no way of getting out of there. Wheel really trying to take over the Radiant jungle here, but Root's nowhere even close to being in their own jungle. They're just saying, you know what, we're just going to stay up here in the top lane. We're going to take we took our tier 1, or took your tier 1, now we're going to put some pressure on the tier 2, and if you don't come and defend it like you didn't come and defend your tier 2 in the mid lane, we're just going to take it for free. IX Mike taking the creep wave in the mid lane, and what that'll do is make his lane push a little bit harder in the mid and force a response. Eclipse going to come out in the bottom lane, but Sleazel's going to get dunked. As another kill goes the way of Root. Now 6-5, so they only just now pulled ahead in terms of kills. But you have to say that Root is looking pretty damn good in this game. Let's take a look at the gold graph. As it's actually not as big of a lead as I would have expected. Just under 2,500 gold in favor of Root. XP, almost dead even. But if you take a look at map control, you take a look at the towers that have fallen, you have to say Root is taking control of this early game and earlier mid game, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of just right around that defining moment of mid game. But this is where their roster, this is where their group of heroes is going to be the strongest. And you have to worry about Are they going to be able to keep this momentum going and be able to break that high ground? That's always the difficult part when playing a lineup this mid-game centric. Do you have the ability to break the high ground? Or do you have the scalability to go a little bit later on into the game? We know Wheel does, as they've got the Luna. Root's got the Shadow Fiend, so they do have a little bit there, but they certainly don't have as much as Wheel does, because they've got the Razor to back it up as well. And even the Lina is going to scale quite well. Of course, Root, I mean, you've got a Night Stalker. You got a position 4 Night Stalker. That's got to be of some value when it comes to going later on in the game. Pretty greedy support. BKB just now getting picked up by TC, and we'll quickly cycle through our heroes here. Let's see what the support Night Stalker has. Looks like he's building going for an urn. Sitting on just under 1,000 gold. Is he going to upgrade his boots or finish that urn? We'll find out in just a second. Jason has picked up a point booster, working towards his Egg Scepter, but still quite a ways away. Guanzo has his Blink, Force, and Tranquils. TC just picked up that BKB, but also has a Yules. That leaves Monkeys Forever as our final hero, who has Mech and the Midas still, 1,300 gold on hand. Roche was just taken. The Aegis is going to be on Sleazel.
Haste!
He's got a Manta and a Helm of the Dominator to go with his treads. Just finished the Manta right now. There's that urn getting finished by Fluff. Goody has a mech to counter the Viper mech. So a little bit of a different item pickup coming up from Lina than we're typically used to seeing. You see her generally go for the Yules into Egg Scepter, but we won't see that this game. I'm interested to see what the next item pickup. Will she still go for the Yules, or will it just be going for the Egg Scepter to deal with the BKBs that are going to be coming out from Root Gaming? Certainly, it would be a good way to bring down TC. So we finished looking through Wheel here. We do have that medallion finished on the Vengeful Spirit. Relic also has that Midas and the makings of a BKB. Just needs the recipe to finish that one. Now Ike's Mike's going to be our final hero here, as he's got a Blink Dagger and an Ogre Club, so going for a BKB rather than a Force Staff as his next item. We will see the Tier 2 tower go down here in the top lane. So Wheel losing a ton of their towers. Their only outside tower left remaining is going to be the bottom Tier 2. And then Root Gaming will have, well, no other option than to push up high ground if they want to continue to deal structure damage to their opponents. Will the TP out from the bottom lane for Sleazel, as he'll just go up to the top lane to farm. Now Ike's Mike will consider farming down here, or maybe just look for a kill on whoever chooses to respond to this push coming out here, but realizing that no one's coming out just yet, he'll jump on in, drop the Firefly, and then a pause comes out, and then an immediate unpause comes out from Ike's Mike, and then a repause comes out from Goody, and then another unpause. As who knows what the heck Ike's Mike is doing. I think he's just spamming the pause button. And now he DCs. Is anyone out there else surprised that this is coming out from Ike's Mike? I know I'm certainly not. But hopefully he'll be able to reconnect and we'll continue on with this one. As Root Gaming, they've got to be in a commanding lead right now. But that question still remains. Will they be able to push up onto the high ground? What's the value of this Night Stalker? How will it help Root going forward? Doesn't have a kill yet, but also doesn't have a death, just 4 assists for Fluff. But we haven't seen that many kills in the game. Just 11 kills, 6 on the side of Root. So he's been a part of 4 of those 6. Not bad. 66% participation. It's definitely not bad at all. Jason also hasn't fallen either. Both supports for Root Gaming. Haven't died, but also haven't gotten a kill. 3 assists for the Disruptor. Guanzo sitting at 3-3-0 on the axe. Let's actually just bring up a scoreboard here so we can see everyone. TC 2-0-1 on the Shadow Fiend. The Viper maybe even struggling a little bit, as he's 1-2-2. The only one with what is considered a negative, even though it's not negative, it's just less than 1 KD. As for Wheel, the only one who's actually positive is going to be the Luna. Sleazel does have the Aegis, and that should prevent Root from pushing up onto the high ground until, or as long as that Aegis is standing, as we see some of the casters playing tic-tac-toe on the mini-map. Looks like Circle just won. As they're not actually going to finish that, but Circle definitely just won that. As X was in a situation where they were going to have to drop down 2 X's, which you of course can't do. As, oh, they're going to make a new one. Here we go. What the heck is going on? I don't know. Apparently they don't know how to play tic-tac-toe. Let's take a look at our gold graph, see where we stand. Root still in the lead, just 2,000 gold. Wheel managing to keep up in terms of the farm. So Root, with all that tower gold, they do have a lead, but not as much as you would expect. Wheel actually in the lead when it comes to XP. He's offline, uh-oh. This could be a little bit of a longer pause than I was hoping. Sounds like he's restarting his PC, so we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. And yeah, Monkeys Forever's he did disconnect the last game. It wasn't that long of a wait. Hopefully this will kind of mimic that. Okay, we do have a point booster coming out from the Lina, so Goody going to be going for the Egg Scepter as his next item. Electing not to go with the Yules. Means he won't be able to set up his combo as easily. He'll just have to be more on point with those Light Strike arrays. Of course, he doesn't have to lead with it. You've got Derp Derp with the Magic Missile. That can kind of lead into it. Of course, besides that, they don't really have too much disables. As they've got Lasso that could set it up. Besides that, they've got the disable coming out from the Flame Break, but that's not really that reliable. Alex Mike has returned. Greetings, he says to everyone. But Wheel isn't quite ready. Root's ready to go. They're eager to keep going with this one and hopefully take their first win of the tournament. This is quite an important game for both teams. Whatever team loses here is essentially out of contention for moving forward. If Root loses, that means Wheel's up at 2 wins. Boreal would also be up at 2 wins, so the most Root would be able to have is 1 win if they potentially beat Black Sheep in their next game. And of course, if Wheel loses here, then they'd be out because they'd only have 1 win in the group stage. Boreal sitting at 2. Root would be sitting at 1. And then whatever team won between Root and Black Sheep in our third game would then, of course, end up with 2 wins as well. So that team and Boreal would advance. So very important game we have here as we get the go-ahead here as we resume. Got 3 heroes up here in the top lane defending for Wheel, but looks like Root will just back away as they're going to go to defend their bottom lane as well. Fluff? Where's he going? What is he doing? Not sure. Maybe he's not sure either. So he kind of walked up to the secret shop, but I don't know. He didn't buy anything. He already had the point booster. Didn't have a ward. Wasn't going to place anything like that. Maybe he's just checking. I don't know. We will have him farming up in the mid lane, at least until TC gets here. But we do have a grouping from Wheel in the top lane, all 5 of them getting together, kind of sitting behind Sleazel. They haven't shown behind Sleazel yet. Actually, they will now, as they're just going to put pressure on this tier 1 tower. Looks like it's going to go down. I don't think Root's going to be able to get there in time. They do have a glyph available to them to delay it, and they should use it. Yeah, they will.
Structures are fortified.
And now Wheel is actually... Are they going to hang around? Or they will, just long enough to get the racks. And Fluff's going to be the first one to run in. He's going to get lassoed. Laguna is going to get used to drop just to support Night Stalker. Now Guanzo is going to jump in, getting a taunt off. Onto 2. Derp Derp's going to take a fall. Relic getting quite low. But with the BKB, he will be able to survive for a bit. But now he's slowed by the Viper Strike. TC's just going to run right past the Light Strike array coming out from Goody, and they will claim the kill onto Relic. 2 heroes will fall for Wheel. Root just loses Fluff. Starts it all off. Wheel did get the tower there, so Root wasn't able to get the deny, but overall, Root walking away with the extra kill. What will they look to do here? Will they look to put some pressure on this top tier 3? They still are hanging out in the top lane. They got another 30 seconds until Relic's back up. But looks like they're going to just rotate away and not put some pressure on this tier 3. It already has taken about 200 points of damage. Well, maybe they'll just take the opportunity here to do a little bit of counter warding. There wasn't an observer ward there, just caught another sentry. But now we'll have some TPs to the bottom lane, as that lane was pushing thanks to IX Mike, who's been doing a lot of that managing of the lanes of the Bat Rider. Looks like he picked up a Mithril Hammer, so he's getting closer to completing that BKB, but still just needs a recipe to finish it. Fluff, even though he died, did manage to pick up an Ogre Club. I think he purchased that before he died. Guanzo has a Force Staff and an Ogre Club going for a BKB of his own. Monkeys Forever flying out the remaining components for his Ag Scepter, so he'll be able to throw out more Viper Strikes in the fight. Because that's a great way to keep the Viper slowed. Or sorry, not the Viper, the Razor slowed. Even if he pops the BKB, he still can get slowed up by that Viper Strike. As we see, the Aegis get reclaimed by Roche, and it's going to be a while until we get Roche up again. 5.5 minutes from now. Roche, why you do that? TC sitting on 2,800 gold right now. What is he going to go for next? He's got his BKB and his Yules. We saw... Yeah, okay. It is going to be a Butterfly. That's what we saw coming out from the Shadow Fiend last game. And we're going to see the same thing with the BKB. It's a good pickup going up against both the Luna and the Razor. Both heroes that are going to try to right-click you down, so giving you that evasion. They're also 2 heroes that typically don't like or don't naturally pick up an MKB. So there's even more value in that Butterfly pickup. And of course, it's a great item on Shadow Fiend to begin with. Gives you that attack speed, gives you that damage that the Agi is going to provide a hero like Shadow Fiend. But it also is going to give you that survivability, that evasion against the right clicks that are going to be coming out from Wheel. Both teams just sitting back farming. Haven't really seen Root put the aggression on too much recently. It's good in getting closer to finishing that Ag Scepter, about halfway. And that reminds me, let's take a look at our Disruptor. See how close Jason's getting. So he has the point booster and 700 gold. He's a little bit behind Goody, and certainly he's not going to be able to farm as quick as Alina. But he's making good progress. Fluff almost done his as well. 400 away from completing that, so they'll have the gigantic vision that Night Stalker can provide. Sleazel's been on top of farming these Ancients as he'll look to clear it once again. Derp's just going to sit there and soak a little bit of XP. So will Goody. Also taking the time to get a ward up. Still no BKB recipe coming out for Guanzo on the axe. Where is all his gold gone? I don't know. We will have the BKB finished by IX Mike, who has smoked up with Derp, Goody, and Relic. As they go hunting in the Radiant jungle. No one's actually there. The closest heroes are actually all grouped up in the mid lane. And they don't really want to walk into Root Gaming, certainly not into TC, who has double damage on the Shadow Fiend. But we may see just that, as Jason is probably going to be the initiation target if they see him. They did just get popped now. That's going to force IX Mike to pop the Firefly, and he's going to jump on Monkeys Forever. Jason just gets demolished by the Laguna. Monkeys Forever is going to go down as well. The double damage has just worn off on TC. Some good pick off there coming out from Wheel. As Root actually got a little bit separated there. As I don't think they thought that there was going to be an initiation coming from their side there. But Wheel wheels them right back in. Oh my god, I just said that. I'm sorry, guys. 2,000 gold, gold away of Wheel. And they check Roche, they hope that he's up, but we already know that it's going to be a long spawn for Roche. So we still have another 2 minutes or so before he's going to be back up. IX Mike will get thrown up in the air from the Yules from TC. He's going to get right-click down. Fluff's going to cover his retreat, and that's going to be a kill for Root. Ping's coming out from Monkeys Forever saying, hey, Roche could potentially be up. Let's check. He's not up. Wheel then pinging the fact that Fluff walked in there to check. And this will help them know if Roche is up and know what's going on as Fluff just now finishes his Egg Scepter. As they're really constantly checking Roche here, as they will place a ward up onto the high ground to get pinged out immediately, as Wheel knows that there was the potential of that ward going up. They pinged it before they'd even seen those heroes walk out of the pit and were able to check their inventory, but they can assume that Jason would have warded there. So expect that to get counter-warded, although it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to counter-ward it right now. So they may just have to play around the fact that they know that Root has vision in that space. Looks like Wheel will make their movement towards Roche and potentially in behind their opponents here with the smoke coming from the mid lane. As Guanzo, Fluff, and Jason will all sit here. They do have the vision from Fluff's Egg Scepter, but it won't spot the opponents when they're sitting there in smoke. And here we go. IX Mike's going to initiate onto TC, who did manage to get the BKB up. Nice Static Storm coming out from Jason. And now TC's in the middle of everyone. Monkeys Forever is going to be our first hero that's going to go down, or Willie. He's so low, 140 HP, 150 HP, 116 HP. As he somehow just gets away. As Kinetic Field will back him up. Guanzo is going to get focused down, but so will Goody. Guanzo is going to be our first to fall. Jason's going to go down. So will Monkeys Forever. It's a disaster for Root. As Wheel make good on that smoke, and now they'll take the opportunity to counter ward that Observer ward. And I imagine they're going to check Roche here, who still isn't up, but he will be up so close. But they know he has to be up soon. And IX Mike, unfortunately, DCs once again. So I imagine Wheel will hang around the Roche pit and wait until Roche spawns. In fact, he has spawned, kind of. The respawn thing's still there, but Roche is kind of just coming into the game, so maybe we've paused in the middle of that animation. We have to expect Wheel to look to take a Roche here. I say it might or might not be DDoS. Hopefully it's not. So we unfortunately wait for IX Mike to reconnect. But Wheel seemingly walking all over Root in that last fight. And this is the problem with a lineup like Root's. It's so strong in the mid game, but you always have to question, do they have the ability to scale going later on into this game? And yes, they were able to make good on ganks and make those early rotations and kind of just 5-man early on. But the problem is, going forward, you rely so heavily on just really good execution. They had a good Static Storm. They were able to get the BKB off on the Shadow Fiend before the lasso grabbed him. That was huge. But it seemed like from the initiation on, Root was always just kind of not struggling, not frantically trying to regain control of the fight. They were just kind of just trying to back away, just trying to cut their losses, just trying to not lose the team fight hard. And by doing so, they lose the team fight hard. They're not able to control the fight. They're not able to play around those big ultimates like the Static Storm, like the, it's not an ultimate, but play around the Kinetic Field, play around the Axe Taunt. In the end, they're kind of half committing to the fight, and it just kind of comes down to that initiation from Wheel. And it almost seems like Root was caught off guard, which is surprising. Because actually, maybe it's not surprising, because you think of the last two tier 2 pushes. The one in the mid lane wasn't defended at all by Wheel. The one in the top lane wasn't defended at all by Wheel. So maybe they just expected the tier 2 to go down for free and Wheel not to defend it. Then they would probably rotate or retreat to Roche and take that, and then they would have expected Wheel to engage on Roche. But Wheel taking advantage of a little bit of positioning there from Root. But you know what? I don't want to say that Root was completely unwary of the fact that there was going to be initiation from Wheel there, because they were posted up here. They knew. They had Fluff sitting there giving them a bunch of vision with the Egg Scepter on the Night Stalker. Maybe they just relied too much on that vision and the smoke caught them off guard. Either way, it was a disaster for Root. What's the rule on pauses gets asked? It's 10 minutes is the answer. And there's actually no limit on the number of pauses, which is kind of weird. A team can pause for 10 minutes, but no longer than 10 minutes. Each team has 3 pauses, 5 minutes longer. Okay, he's the admin. He's the admin. That's not what I remember from reading the rules, but we're going to just go on what he says there, because he's the active admin in the game, so he should know better than I do. So we're just going to go with his word and think that I misremembered that, which could possibly be it. I'm tempted now to bring up the rules, but he is the admin. It doesn't matter what the rules say or what I mean, it should matter what the rules say, but it doesn't matter what my interpretation of the rules are. He's the one who's going to be making the call for this game. Unfortunately, still paused here. IX Mike is apparently online, but hasn't been able to reconnect to the game as of yet. To bring up the item screen here, we've got what new is potentially coming out. Fluff has picked up that Egg Scepter recently. Nothing new is going to be coming out anytime soon for him. Guanzo almost has his BKB finished, still waiting on that recipe. Monkeys Forever. Midas, Mech, Eggs, 1300 gold. Wonder what his next item will be. I don't know. I wonder, maybe it's something like a Manta? BKB, I don't know. I don't know if a BKB is going to be valuable for him. It's a long way to that Egg Scepter still for Jason. Still just has the point booster now, 550 gold. TC, since picking up the Butterfly, not able to make any progression really. But we will get a resume here. And with that, as Wheel most likely will be taking Roche, we'll go through their items. As Wheel. Derp's got Midas and actually has a Morbid Mask. I'm guessing building towards a Vlad's, giving his team the aura. IX Mike has the BKB now. 1400 gold as well. Uh-oh. Now Goody DCs. Can we unpause and not count it? Huh? What does that mean? I don't know. But either way, now Goody DCs. I don't... Oh, can we unpause now and not count it as a pause, I guess is what he's asking. Either way, IX Mike farming up in the jungle here. As I think what they want to do is they realize there's not going to be aggression coming out from root here. So if they're limited on their pauses, this would be their third pause. If they're limited to 3, then they don't want to soak it up here if they think he's going to be reconnecting soon. As they don't really need Goody at the moment, which is unfortunate to say. But we will get a gem purchased by Fluff, and that combined with the Egg Scepter on Night Stalker is a great combo. That allowed them to do a bunch of counter warding. Of course, Night Stalker won't be able to attack up onto cliffs and do the counter warding, but he'll at least be able to spot them out so that maybe Jason will be able to do some of the counter warding with the ranged disruptor attack. I didn't finish looking at the items for the dire side, so let's do that now. As Relic finished an AC since we were going through the items, so that's good. That maybe we just gave him a little bit of time to do so. He's got a BKB and a Midas as well as 1,000 gold. Goody looks like he's reconnected, so that's good to see as he's almost on his Egg Scepter. 250 gold from completing that. And last but not least, Sleazel. Manta, BKB, Helm of the Dominator, has also picked up an Eagle Song, and 1,800 gold on hand, so about 900 from finishing the Butterfly. But he does have the Aegis as well. We do have an Ogre Club picked up by Monkeys Forever, so BKB will be his next item. And Guando must be getting close. There we go. As he buys the recipe for his BKB, and it's going to be flying out. Now, Wheel kind of all retreating back to their own base here. I think they, well, they have no idea where Root is right now, so they're going to be playing a little bit cautious here as they're going to try to group up to some extent. Sleazel's kind of off by himself doing these ancient camps, and Goody needs to make sure he doesn't venture up here. This is really scary when you have no idea where your opponent is walking up that hill. But he will be able to farm here. They had no vision at all. That was a really risky play. But he'll continue to try and farm what he can here. This Observer Reward will actually reveal that someone's here, and they should know that it's Lena based on the attacks flying in. It will get pinged out. So Guanzo's saying, hey, someone's here. It's the Luna. It's the Lena, sorry. I'm already getting mixed up. Bottom tier 2 will go down. Sleazel getting the last hit there. Fluff staying close to his opponents, but because of that vision, he can actually see them, but them not see him. So taking advantage of that, just kind of stalking his opponents during the nighttime. I guess that's probably why he's called Night Stalker. But giving a bunch of information to his teammates, allowing them to farm. And Jason's actually going to do a little bit of farming. There we go. He's about to hit 1,000 gold, so he will pick up his next item towards his Egg Scepter if he chooses to actually spend some of that gold. Fluff still following the enemies around. And this is, you know, this isn't something that's going to show up on the scoreboard. It's not something that's going to show up in items or gold per minute or anything like that. But that actually is quite significant. This is the value of that Night Stalker. Not only was he walking around following his opponents so everyone knew where they were, but he's also going checking places for wards, making sure they don't have any vision, allowing his teammates to not only make good rotations based on the positioning of their opponents, but also make unsighted rotations because they know there's no wards in those areas. We did have that Butterfly finished by the Luna, so Sleazel picking that up. You have to imagine that an MKB is going to be the next item for TC, as they had seen the Eagle Song for quite some time, so they knew the Butterfly was going to be coming out for the Luna. TC sits on 4,100 gold. That's not enough for an MKB just yet. So you got a 5-man grouping coming up from Wheel in the top lane. Will they actually push the tier 2? Looks like they will. Root says, you know, we're just going to push the bottom lane. And who's avoiding the fight here? I think it's actually Root avoiding. The last fight did not go too well for him. And they said, you know what, you guys want to trade, we'll take it. We'll take your last tier 2. And it will be a trade. But now the TPs are going to come back from Root, as we're going to see potentially a fight here over this tier 3 in the top lane. Will Wheel look to actually attempt to push uphill here? Fluff coming in from behind, giving them the vision. So he needs to make sure he doesn't get too close and get caught out. Ix Mike jumps after him. He does have a Shadow Blade. Didn't see the pickup for that, but that's going to be quite valuable, potentially, of getting a pick off. The problem is that you're doing it against an Egg Scepter gem, Fluff. So he will be able to scout you out pretty early. One thing to note is that the gem, I believe the gem has detection range that is not related to your hero's vision range. So everything that Night Stalker can see won't necessarily be revealed by that gem. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'm not 100% on that. I do want to check the wiki, and maybe someone can check the wiki and let me know in chat. But I believe that's how it works. I believe gem has a specific radius that isn't attached to your vision. I believe it is bigger than most heroes' visions, if not all heroes' natural vision. But I think when it gets matched up with an Egg Scepter on Night Stalker, I believe there is a little bit of a dead zone there. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Point Booster getting picked up by Relic. So he's going to go for a pretty late Egg Scepter. In fact, he will just complete it. Vlad's was finished by Derp. Goody. Has his eggs as well. Sleazel sitting on 3,600 gold. What will he go for next? Fluff, Monkeys, Jason. Jason picked up an Ogre Club. Or 300 gold, so getting closer. There's the MKB that came out from TC. Of course, now you definitely won't have buyback. We got a Plate Mail on Guanzo. Is that a Shiva's? Is that an AC to counteract the AC on Relic? Derp now will TP back. As maybe Root will look to push up here onto the high ground. It's a tough one. I think right now they're just trying to prepare for the next Roche. As it's going to be another long spawn on the Roche. The Roche could potentially be up to the teams, but it's going to be essentially 3 minutes from now. So right around the 40-minute mark is when we're going to have them. Never mind. I was completely reading that wrong. What the heck am I doing? It's going to be 1 minute and 20 seconds from now. I swear I've played this game before. I swear I've spectated before. So around 38:30 is the time we're going to be looking at for Roche. As that's definitely going to be the thing that the teams are going to be fighting over for next. I don't think we're going to see anyone try to push up onto the high ground without the Aegis. Monkeys Forever just purchased Blink Dagger. So that's what he went for. What is Sleazel going to go for now, though? 4,800. I think you won't see him buy past his buyback. As right now, I think Wheel's in a good spot going forward in the game. But they need to cover for the fact that something could go wrong. And that's the main way that they're going to find themselves in a bad situation. So Sleazel definitely needs to make sure that he has buyback. Root can be a little bit more aggressive maybe with their item purchases, because I think they are on the back foot here. And I think they'd be okay with going without buybacks. As we saw TC picking up that MKB, he bought all the way down to, I believe it was 200 to 300 gold. So obviously not saving for buyback. Roche is up. Wheel knows they've been in there. They've checked Roche Pit. Ix Mike with that Shadow Blades running around with the Firefly. Root's going to check as well. So both teams do know that Roche is up, and actually Root's just going to go for it. Look at this. Wheel's just been completely forced back. As they will pop the smoke, but it immediately gets popped by Fluff. Now pings come out from Wheel, and they'll just back away. Roche goes in favor of Root. Aegis will be on TC. Cheese will go on Monkeys Forever. And this has to be the moment where Root attempts to take the high ground. And this is their moment to really punish Wheel with some racks. But unfortunately, their bottom lane's pushing. Will they come back and defend this? Or will they just suck it up? Looks like they're going to come back, or at least Monkeys Forever is going to come back and stop that push. This is potentially... Ooh, he's going to drop the cheese. Never mind, he's going to drop his Midas. Ah, there we go. Courier flies in, delivers the Midas so he can Midas the creeps. And then sends it back on the Midas. Or on the Courier. This is the value of potentially having Boots of Travel. If they wanted to put some pressure maybe on the top lane, they could have been up there as 4. Someone comes down, defends the bottom lane, and then TP's on up there. TC would be the natural one to pick up Boots of Travel here. So look for him to replace his treads soon. But it looks like now he's actually will be saving for buyback. So he's going to wait. He will buy Satanic, actually. So not going for Boots of Travel. So I guess that'll be his next item after the Satanic. A Satanic will actually allow him to deal with the potential damage coming out in the team fight and heal himself back up. If you're not CC'd during the Satanic, then it's almost like a full life again. So count him as basically having 3 lives in the next fight. His normal HP pool, then the Aegis, then the Satanic. 3 lives, essentially. Unless Wheel's able to CC him in the right time. And how would they be able to CC him outside of... I mean, Lasso. I guess they could get Stun Chain coming out from Venge and the Lina, which is a very real possibility. Especially with him probably popping the Satanic in after he's respawned from the Aegis. Which is when those... Most likely how the team fight's going to go. That's when the cooldowns for those 2 disables will be coming back up. As I try to theory craft how one of these team fights is going to go, but it's a little bit difficult. Just a little bit. Sleazel did pick up a Satanic, which is worth noting. So we are going to essentially have a Satanic on both sides here. TC hasn't finished his just yet. Besides that, Derp just picked up a gem as well. He's actually going to be the one holding it, not IX Mike, which is our typical gem holder for Wheel's lineup. But he doesn't really have the slots to do so. Maybe if he had Boots of Travel, then he'd actually have a slot. But he's having to carry a TP scroll. Satanic now, just getting finished by TC. Buying down to 840 gold. So, once again, doesn't have buyback. If he does have buyback, he would need Boots of Travel. But if he did have Boots of Travel, that would be a 4th life for these team fights. Doesn't actually have the Satanic on him yet, because that Aegis is taking up a slot. Well, night time will come again as Fluff pops that ultimate.
Dire's middle tower
And will they look to
under
jump
attack.
here? Monkeys Forever blinking. Close, but not actually engaging there. IX Mike popping the Firefly. Will he jump in? It gets pinged out immediately by Monkeys Forever. Root aware that this initiation could be coming out from IX Mike and making sure that they step back. As I don't think Wheel's going to look to force this here. Root's the one that are going to have to force as they try to take this tier 3. They're fine with just chipping away at it. TC, of course, not missing because of that MKB. I believe that's how it works. Maybe I'm wrong. As TC will drop down immediately, but he does have the Aegis. He'll be back up in just a second. Guanzo getting this haunt off and dropping the Vengeful Spirit. That means the gem's on the ground. TC's going to go down for a second time. He's out of lives. Now Guanzo's on the run with the BKB pop. That'll wear off, but he's going to go down. So Root has lost 2. They may lose a 3rd here. Never mind. Glimpse going to save Jason as he's going to try to get out of there. IX Mike's going to come and try to chase him down. Jason doesn't have a TP, so he's got no way of getting out of here. He'll be okay, or will he? Will Goody find him? He's going to do a little counter warning. Oh no, the ping's coming out. They spotted him. Jason's going to go down here. So we are going to lose 3 for Root when it's all said and done. Wheel just losing the 1. Next fight, they will at least have the Satanic up on TC. And probably a Boots of Travel. So he'll be able to buy back and rejoin in the fight, assuming he gets enough gold to do so. But will Wheel be able to punish Root for losing that fight. Looks like they will, as at least one set of racks is going to go down here. I don't think... actually, they might. They got 30 seconds until the Shadow Fiend. Certainly, if they get a kill here on Fluff, which they will. Well, they're going to go for bottom racks here? Will they? No, they're going to play the more conservative play, and that's just going to be backing away. So in the end, we just lose one set of racks. Root maybe breathes a little bit of sigh of relief there as they didn't get punished with 2 sets of racks. Guanzo does finish the AC, so they will have that going into the next fight. They did lose the gem on Fluff, who did buy a sand. But I expect him to probably get rid of his bottle on respawn and get another gem for them, as it should be off cooldown. I believe this should show the cooldown, if it is on cooldown. I can probably look at theirs. Yeah, okay. So Dire side still 6 minutes until they're able to purchase another gem, but they do have the one on the Lena. Where's the other one? Probably in base on the courier? No, IX Mike holding it right now. So he's not carrying the TP. Goodies? Who's going to drop it? Are they both going to run around with a gem? Maybe. Fluff respawns, buys that gem. We have Boots of Travel getting purchased by the Razor. So Relic will add that to his inventory. He also has an Ultimate Orb. Building towards Scotty? Sheep? Unsure. Both are going to be quite valuable at this point in the game. Probably a Scotty, but Sheep is certainly an option. Demon Edge getting purchased by Sleazel. Could it be a Divine Rapier? Probably just a Daedalus. But actually, it could be an MKB as well. And indeed, it will be an MKB. That's a good item pickup to counter, of course, the Butterfly on the side for Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend, of course, picked up his MKB already to counter the Butterfly that was coming out from Sleazel. Now we may see Wheel attempt to push on the high ground here. Root not going to have the Aegis this time around, so Shadow Fiend will be a little bit limited. Does he have buyback available to him? Not yet. 180 gold. Going to switch on over to the buyback status so we can see who's got what. As now TC gets enough gold to buy back. Here's the engage. IX Mike will lasso off on TC. Who gets Laguna? He gets dropped immediately. Buys back immediately as well. But they've already lost Jason. 2 heroes down. Wheel will back away. They forced out the BKB, or sorry, the buyback from TC, but they managed to catch Sleazel. But nice swap coming up from Derp, and maybe TC overextending DDaz as he's gone down. No buyback for TC as he has just used it. And I don't think Root's going to be able to defend here. They lose their bottom set of racks. And looks like Wheel's going to be able to take this one. As do they move on for the tier 4s, or do they just go to the top lane? Well, it looks like top lane's going to be the choice. Because I guess that's the safer route? I don't know. I think they could probably just end the game. Either way, the racks are easily going to be taken. That's going to be Mega Creeps. Good game. Well played will come out from Fluff. As Root loses both their games so far, that means they're out of it. Wheel matches Boreal at 2-1 in terms of the brackets. And our third game will be between Root, which, like I said, is basically already out of it. There's no way that they're going to be able to advance. But they can kind of shake things up a little bit, as Black Sheep will look to also improve to 2-1 in the group, creating a 3-way tie for those top 2 slots. Root at least wants to get 1 win, so they'll try to put up a good fight. But unfortunately, the support Night Stalker does not work out for Root. Wheel takes this game, and we have, like I said, 1 more to go, which was slated to start at 10. So it was slated to start 1 minute ago. I imagine we're just going to have about a 5-minute break. Maybe a little bit longer before the game. I don't know. It's dependent on Root, I believe. And obviously the tournament admins. But hopefully you guys will stick around for us for that, as that should be starting soon. Once again, I'm Niz. Hopefully you did enjoy the cast. If you did, hit that follow button on twitch.tv/NizCast. Check me out on Twitter at NizCast, and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/NizCast as well. Besides that, support the tournament. Dota 2 Canada Cup on Twitch, And also buy the in-game ticket for $9. Get a 6 set, but also have the opportunity to watch these games in-game and potentially get drops. I've already got 2 drops. I got a Night Stalker hat last game. No, not a Nanny Mage hat last game. What else did I get? I got... I don't remember what I got. But I also got a sniper set on top of that. So I've gotten 3 drops in total. The value. Not only am I able to watch these games and cast these games for you through the ticket, but I'm also getting drops. It's a win-win. But I'm going to make sure that we don't miss the start of the next game and all that. I'm going to throw it to music in the meantime, grab a drink. I know I need one. But we'll be back with our final game. Well, actually, not potentially our final game of the night, but our final scheduled game for Group B in just a bit.